Okay, let's dive right into this. When most people think of Etsy, they usually picture handmade crafts, vintage clothing, or maybe some custom jewelry. But there is a massive, quietly booming market hiding right in plain sight. Digital organization templates. We're talking about highly customizable, portable templates that buyers can use across multiple devices to organize pretty much their entire lives. And what's really fascinating is that the numbers behind these products are incredibly strong. So in this explainer, we are going to unpack the data behind 5 wildly profitable digital organization templates that Etsy sellers are drastically underestimating right now.
To keep us on track, here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The digital organization trend. 2. Trending Google Sheets templates. 3. Trending Notion templates. 4. Beating free alternatives. And 5. Winning with specificity. Let's get to it.
All right, kicking things off with part 1, the digital organization trend.
So why are people turning to Etsy for this stuff in the first place? Well, it boils down to this. Generic simply won't cut it, but precisely right, that will convert fast. Buyers have usually tried all those free apps, right? And they found them either way too rigid or just painfully plain. Whether we're talking about a busy parent trying to manage chores or a freelancer juggling a dozen clients, they have a crystal clear picture of what good looks like in their head. If you can build the exact customizable system they're picturing, they are going to gladly pay for it. Moving right along to part 2, trending Google Sheets templates.
Now, Google Sheets templates are absolutely exploding right now. Why? Because they're living, shareable documents you can access from anywhere. And the demand? It is just staggering. Take a look at this wild number, 150% click-through rate for a chore calendar. Let's unpack that for a second. This specific template gets an average of 180 monthly searches, but there are only 135 listings competing for them. Literally, there are more clicks happening per month than there are sellers. These buyers are typically frustrated parents who are just tired of re-explaining who does what around the house. They're opening every available listing, comparing them super carefully, and hunting for a system that basically runs itself. In a very low-competition market like this, your product doesn't even have to fight for visibility. You just need a highly appealing thumbnail to grab one of those clicks.
Let's see how this builds when we compare 2 other major Google Sheets products side by side. First up, the Google Sheets Calendar. It pulls in about 290 monthly searches, but it has a massive competition pool of over 8,500 listings. This keyword is super broad. People use it for literally everything, from meal planning to content scheduling, so it naturally has multiple peaks throughout the year. But then, look at the project management spreadsheet. This right here is where the magic happens. A massive 793 monthly searches with only 1,757 competing listings. This is an evergreen, high-volume, low-competition goldmine. The buyer here is usually a price-sensitive freelancer or maybe a small team lead. They desperately need something more organized than a blank document, but hey, they're not quite ready to pay monthly subscriptions for complex software like Asana. If you can give them a clean, highly functional spreadsheet, you win.
Which brings us to part 3, trending Notion templates.
Notion is this incredibly flexible platform. But let's be real, building a system from scratch takes a massive amount of time. And that is exactly why buyers want your pre-built workspaces. The opportunity here is brilliantly illustrated by this number, 987. There are only 987 listings for a Notion project management template. That is prime, low-competition territory for a platform with a user base that is just exploding. The trend graph for this search term points sharply upward, meaning the category is still in its early growth phase. Buyers searching for this, they already use Notion, they totally understand its value, and they have a massive 98% click-through rate. If you're a seller who actually gets how Notion databases and rollups work, getting established right now positions you perfectly ahead of this huge growth wave.
But, project management isn't the only thing users are after. Consider the Notion dashboard. This isn't just some basic task tracker. It's an entire productivity system. It's a centralized home base that brings a user's tasks, goals, habits, notes, calendar, and projects into one single workspace. Buying a Notion dashboard is a highly aspirational purchase. The buyer's basically building their entire digital life inside Notion, and they want it to look and feel amazing. Because of this, it's a moderately competitive space, over 6,000 listings. But get this, it boasts a 101% click-through rate. Why over 100%? Because aesthetics are everything here. Buyers are literally clicking on multiple listings, comparing visual identities, and hunting for the one that perfectly matches their personal vibe.
All right, on to part 4, beating free alternatives.
Now that we've seen the products, we have to tackle the elephant in the room. Why on earth would someone buy a template when so many free alternatives exist? Well, the data gives us a super clear answer. The existence of free tools has almost no bearing on these Etsy purchases. And here's why. The buyer who types a search into Etsy has already decided that free and generic simply is not solving their problem. They aren't paying for a blank spreadsheet. They're paying for the time, the design skill, and the deep systems thinking that went into making your template work beautifully right out of the box. Essentially, they're buying back the hours it would take them to build the whole shebang themselves.
So if you want to command a premium price for your templates, you really need to deliver on 4 key elements. First up is visible complexity. We're talking automated status tracking or fancy summary dashboards in Google Sheets. Second is genuine interactivity. Think drop-down menus, conditional formatting, or linked databases in Notion. Third is clear documentation. A comprehensive setup guide, or even better, a quick little video walkthrough makes a world of difference. And finally, a strong aesthetic. Your product demo images need to scream high value at first glance. If you combine these 4 things, trust me, buyers will happily pay a premium.
And finally, part 5, winning with specificity. This brings us to what is probably our absolute most important strategic insight for this whole explainer. If you compare a generic monthly calendar to a highly specific one, you're looking at 2 completely different survival strategies. If you create the generic version, you are throwing yourself into a massive pool of competitors fighting tooth and nail for the same general audience. But if you create a specific calendar, let's say one explicitly designed for a social media manager, complete with built-in content pillars, platform-specific tabs, and posting analytics, you completely change the game. You are no longer competing with the generic calendar. You are serving a specific buyer perfectly. A generic version is never going to satisfy that social media manager, but your tailored template, that's an instant sale and a glowing review waiting to happen. Niching down is exactly how you dominate. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought as we wrap up this explainer. The buyers are out there. They are organized, intentional, and actively spending money to make their workflows better. The data absolutely proves the demand is waiting. So the question is, are you ready to stop appealing to everyone and start building the exact template your specific buyer is searching for?